students. Okay, so today's lesson, we're going to be talking about staying healthy, right? So the goal for today is to develop an exercise plan. So this is something you do not need to do. You do not need to be focusing on an exercise plan. A lot of you are doing physical work where at the end of your day, you're like, the last thing I want to do is like go running or exercising, right? Because you exercise all day, you're active all day. But this lesson is just to kind of to talk about being healthy, but also using English to talk about these things, right? So it says, look at the picture. Why is exercise important? Then read about exercise, okay? So let's pause and talk about this. Do you think exercise is important? What do you consider exercise? Is exercise only when you do this, when you go to a gym and you're doing these? Or what else can be exercise? What do you think is exercise? Why is exercise important? Right? Why is it important? Okay, so let's read this together. So it says right here, it says, we need to exercise. It is good for our heart, muscles, flexibility, and weight. Everyone should exercise. People can run, swim, clean the house, or work in the yard. Doctors say we should exercise every day. Now, something that I think we should also talk about is that when we talk about weight, how much you weigh, sometimes we can think, oh, if I'm skinny, I'm healthy. And that's not really true. And if somebody is bigger, right, like really heavy, it's having a lot of fat on your body. It's not the fact that it's like, oh, fat is bad. It's that fat puts extra weight on your joints and on different parts of your body so that they are more likely to hurt or have problems. Also, when there is fat, right, things that control our weight, when it's around organs, then it can be bad for those organs, right? So I'm not a doctor or anything, but this is just what I've learned. So it's saying people should exercise, right? Remember that word should, it's advice. It's saying you need to do this, you can do this, but it's saying, oh, you should, it's advice, right? People can run, swim, clean the house, or work in the yard, right? So your job is a physical job, right? You go around the hospital, right? If you're a CNA, if you work in environmental services, right, you're doing physical work all day. You're lifting things, you're moving things, you're moving around all the time. You're walking, you're standing, right? So your job is your exercise. I used to have a job that was a physical labor job, where when I say physical labor, physical means real life body, right? So, and labor means work, right? And not just any work, but like labor, where you're physically moving things, physical labor. So I had a physical labor job and I never went running. I didn't lift weights. I didn't do all that kind of stuff because my job was that all day. I was lifting things up, pulling things down, squatting down low to the ground, right? Bending this way, bending that way, right? So that was my job. So I didn't need to do anything. Same with you guys. You don't really have to do the same things people do that sit in an office all day. If you sit all day, you're not exercising, you're not doing something, right? Okay, so it says write letters of the pictures next to the words. So which exercises do you think work something specifically? So which one do you think works muscles? Which one is for looking at your weight? Which one is flexibility? And which one is for your heart? So muscles. So this one right here, D, the guy with the weights, people use that to strengthen their muscles, to make them stronger, because right, to make them stronger. I'm not going to go into why, you know why. Okay, so C, this one is weight. So this person is weighing themselves, right? Sometimes, what is it called? Body fat index, right? Body mass. There are different ways to measure how much of mass you have in your body, right? Weight is just what people commonly use. How many pounds you weigh, how many kilograms, right? So we can use that for weight. But again, weight can be dependent. Talk to your doctor, right? Tell them, ask them what's good for you. And then we have B. B is flexibility, right? So stretching, right? Stretching is the word we use, right? I like to stretch, right? You stretch this way. I like stretching. I like, that's my favorite thing is stretching. I don't like running. I don't like weight lifting for my muscles. I like stretching, right? And then A is exercise for the heart, right? Cardiovascular, right? It was what they call it, cardiovascular health. Doing something that makes blood pump through your body. So your heart has to like, right, work, get really good at doing that. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to look at some graphs. Study the bar graph and answer questions about Alta, Wisconsin. So Alta, Wisconsin is in the United States, right? It's a state, and Alta is the city, the state is Wisconsin. It's close to the eastern United States. Okay, so like you go east this way, back to like, if you're going towards New York City across the country, that way, not the West Coast. Okay, and it's also north, it's up towards the top. Okay, so what percentage of people don't exercise? Okay, so this is our graph. Let's look at our graph first before we start answering questions, right? So we have no exercise, up to 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, or more than 3 hours. And we have percentages, right? Percents, 0%, 3%, 5%, 8, 10, 13, 15, 18, 20, 23, 25, 28, 30, 33, right? Okay, so the first question is, what percentage of people don't exercise, do not exercise? So since we are looking for people who do not, that would be this one right here, no exercise, no exercise. So we go up on the graph and we go over and we can say, oh, 25% of people do not exercise, right? So we can say 25% of people, right? Remember that 25% of people. So whenever you talk about percentage, you always use the word of. 25% of people, 25, right, of people. So what percentage of people, right? So the question kind of shows you how you'll do your answer. So when it says what percentage, you put the percentage in and then just add of people exercise more than 3 hours a week, right? That's the nice thing about English is sometimes you can just take out a part, put in the part that's the answer, and you just repeat the sentence the way that you saw it. Right? So what percentage of people exercise more than 3 hours a week? Ooh, that's a lot of time, right? So more than 3 hours a week, we go over 5%. What percentage of people exercise more than 3 hours a week? 5%. What percentage of people exercise more than 1 hour a week, right? Okay, so this is a tricky question. So if it says what percentage of people exercise more than 1 hour, what we look at is we might say, oh, this one, up to 1 hour. Up to means only 1 hour, right? It just gets barely to 1 hour and then they stop. But if the question says exercise more than, it means past 1 hour. So we would have to look at the graph for 1 to 2 hours, right? Which is this one. So people who exercise 1 to 2 hours is 30%, right? 30% of people exercise more than 1 hour a week, 1 to 2 hours, right? Okay. So this is the listening part we can't really do. So this is just some kinds of exercise, right? So going and running, right? Swimming is an exercise. Working in a garden, right? Working outside. Cleaning your house, right? Cleaning your house. That's an activity that's exercise. Okay, and our last page we're going to talk about is infinitives. Infinitives. Okay, so we can say, I want to run. You want to run. We want to run. They want to run, right? He, she, it, right? We add the S. He wants to ride. She wants to go. It wants to walk, right? So in example sentences, we can say, I want to run. We want to exercise. They want to walk. He wants to ride a bicycle. So this one you have to add a bit, right? So you can say, he wants to ride. Ride what? He wants to ride a bicycle. So we have to clarify, to talk about, right? She wants to do. What does she want to do? She wants to do yard work. She wants to go to the gym. Right? So we can use it to talk about ourselves, right? What kind of exercise do you want to do if you want to do it, right? I want to stretch, or I want to do yoga, right? I want to do yoga. I want to be the old people that do yoga and can move really well, right? And not have their back hurt. I want to swim for exercise. I want to swim for exercise, right? So try and come up with things to use this infinitive. And to make an infinitive, you use the word to with a base verb, right? Run is the simple present verb, right? It's a simple present form, run. It's not running, it's not, right? It's to run, right? We don't have to say two runs if we use he, she, or it, right? Because the want that has the S on it, so we don't have to worry about that. So we can say to run, to walk, to ride, to talk, right? She wants to talk to you. So we can use this for things that aren't exercise, right? Hey, do you have a minute? I want to talk to you, right? I want to leave early. I want to leave early, right? It's another good one. And we don't have to use want only either. We can also say need. I need to go home, right? But you can say, I want to live in Canada. I want to move back home, right, with my family. I want to move outside of the US, right? So there's just some example. And then you can ask people about their exercise goals. And now this is to make a chart, right? How much, oh, sorry, it's the afternoon. I get sleepy in the afternoon. How much do you exercise every week? So you would say, oh, I exercise about an hour every week. So here's my thing is you do not have to do this part if you do not want to. But this is kind of a fun way to practice asking people. So write out this chart in a notebook or something and ask people in your house, ask people at work, just be like, hey, I'm practicing an assignment for English, right? So it says amount of exercise per week, and you write their name, and then you write, you do a little check mark on which one they do. So I'll give you the first one if you want to do it. So the first one we'll do is me. So you could say name Allison. Okay. And then the next part is amount of exercise per week. So I would probably say if you didn't count my work, my job that I do, not when I'm sitting and teaching in front of the computer, but when I'm physically teaching, I'm standing the whole time and I'm moving and I'm doing actions and things like that. But I would probably say that I exercise every week 0 to 1 hour, right? 0 to 1 hour. Definitely not over 1 hour. So that's mine, right? Okay, so you can go around, write down the graph, this chart, and not a graph, this is a chart. You can write down the chart in notebook and ask people, right? And gather that information. Okay, so that's it for today, and I'll see you next.